They say every marriage has a breaking point. Mine showed up halfway through a neighborhood barbecue, right between the burgers and my wife's third glass of wine. I'm Evan, the quiet guy who always ends up behind the grill. It's a safe zone. People wave, compliment the smell, and leave you alone. My wife Sienna was in full hostess mode, laughing too loud, making rounds like she was running a campaign for most charming neighbor. And June, our next-door neighbor, single, calm, a professional observer, was leaning on the fence with a paper plate and that I've seen worse smile. The afternoon started perfectly normal. Music from someone's Bluetooth speaker, jokes about calories, kids running through sprinklers. The air smelled like meat and mild envy. A few beers in, everyone loosened up. The talk drifted toward relationships, the universal sport of married people trying to sound funny about their own misery. My husband thinks loading the dishwasher is foreplay, someone said. Laughter, glasses clinked. Another voice. Mine hasn't cooked since 2018. More laughter. Then Sienna, feeling her wine and her audience, raised a hand like she was about to deliver the punchline of the century. "Please," she said, grinning, "you ladies have it easy. Who wants to trade husbands? Seriously, my model's cheap to maintain. No ambition, no problems." The words hit harder than they should have. The laughter stopped halfway. Even the grill hissed quieter. I didn't say anything at first, just set down the spatula, wiped my hands, and walked over. "Appreciate you handling the marketing, honey," I said evenly. "Hope the client's better than you." Someone choked on beer. Someone else muttered, "Damn." Sienna's smile froze, her cheeks turning the color of regret. And then June, sweet, fearless June, spoke up. "I'll take him." Every head turned. Sienna blinked. "What?" June shrugged. "He cooks, he's polite, and apparently low maintenance. Sounds like a steal." A ripple of nervous laughter moved through the crowd. Sienna tried to laugh too, but it came out thin. "Come on, you guys. Obviously I was joking." "Sure," I said. "So was I. So's June. We're all comedians now." June smiled. "I'm not kidding, but okay." Sienna's eyes went sharp. "This is between me and my husband." "Is it?" I asked. Because a minute ago it sounded like an open auction. That got another awkward laugh from someone near the cooler. Sienna's face went red. She grabbed my arm. "Can we talk privately?" I pulled free. "Why start whispering now?" "Everyone here already knows how little I cost." June chuckled quietly. "This is better than Netflix." "Stay out of this," Sienna snapped. June raised her hands. "Hey, I'm just participating in the community you built." Nobody breathed. The tension was thick enough to grill on. Finally, Sienna hissed, "We will discuss this later." "Sure," I said. "You can lead the post-event debrief." The crowd dispersed fast, neighbors suddenly remembering their kids, their lawns, their lives. June gave me a little nod on her way out, like a referee who'd seen enough fouls for one day. Inside, Sienna exploded the second the door closed. "What the hell was that?" "That," I said, hanging up my keys, "was me defending myself from public auction. You embarrassed me in front of everyone." "Strange. That's exactly what you did to me." I just gave it subtitles. "It was a joke." "Then explain the punchline," she glared. "You loved it. You loved that June jumped in. She just told the truth." "You opened the bidding." "You're impossible," she snapped. "You'd rather flirt with the neighbor than support your wife. You can't steal what's being given away for free." That shut her up. For the first time in years, she didn't have a comeback. I headed for the hallway. "I'm done for tonight. Evan, don't you dare walk away." "I'm not walking away." "I'm walking off stage. I slept in the guest room. And for once, slept great." In the morning, the kitchen smelled like apology and bacon. Sienna stood at the stove in an apron I'd forgotten we owned, makeup flawless, smile forced. "Good morning," she sang. "I made your favorite." Is this a holiday? I asked. It's an apology breakfast. Oh, the annual one? She winced. Look, I had too much wine, okay? I said something stupid. That's true. It came out wrong. No, it came out clearly. Just not in your favor. She folded her arms. You're really gonna stay mad? I'm not mad. I'm observing. She rolled her eyes. You're so dramatic. And you're so public. Before she could reply, the doorbell rang. Through the window, I saw June standing there with a mug. Sienna whispered, Do not let her in. Why? She might need sugar. I swear to God, Evan. I opened the door. Morning, June. Morning. Sorry to bother you. Ran out of sugar. Come on in. Sienna's smile looked like it was stapled on. June. What a surprise. June glanced at the table. Peace offering breakfast. Smells tense. Sienna forced a laugh. Just talking things through. Cool, June said, sitting down. Let's talk then. The silence was loud enough to make headlines. I poured her coffee. Sienna glared like I'd just served betrayal. June took a sip. For what it's worth, I meant what I said yesterday. Sienna nearly dropped her fork. You what? I meant it, June said. You don't appreciate him. That's your problem. Stay out of our marriage, Sienna snapped. June smiled. You brought it into the public domain, remember? Sienna's jaw tightened. Get out. June stood. Sure, but Evan, the offer still stands. She winked, grabbed her mug, and left. The door clicked shut. Sienna turned to me. This is your fault. I sipped my coffee. Probably, but it was a great line. She stared, speechless, and for the first time in a long time, I actually enjoyed my breakfast. The coffee was strong, the silence stronger. Sienna stood by the counter, still frozen from the verbal grenade that June had dropped before walking out. I could see it in her eyes. The disbelief, the calculation, the bruised ego trying to reassemble itself into confidence. She opened her mouth twice, like she was about to say something, but both times decided silence was safer. Smart move. Silence was mine now. I finished my toast slowly, like a man on vacation. Then I rinsed my plate, put it in the dishwasher and said, You want the rest of the coffee? She blinked. You're really acting like nothing happened? I'm just acting, I said. You pick the genre. That earned me the look, the one halfway between murder and marriage counseling. She spent the next hour stomping around the kitchen like she was looking for something to fix, or maybe someone to blame. I stayed out of the way, answering every question with either sure, fine, or whatever works. At one point she muttered, Unbelievable, and I said, Thanks. She didn't laugh, not even close. The house had a new rhythm, quiet, polite, and painfully awkward. I didn't yell, didn't snap, didn't even sigh. I just let the calm do the talking, and it drove her nuts. By noon, she finally broke the silence. So what, you're just going to ignore me now? Not ignoring, I said. Just selective participation. In what? Our marriage? In the noise, I said. I'm taking a break. The next few days were an experiment in emotional minimalism. I said less. She said more. Every joke she tried bounced off me like ping-pong balls against concrete. She wanted passion. I gave her peace. She wanted a reaction. I gave her eye contact and a nod. On Tuesday, she slammed a cabinet and said, I miss when you used to argue. I don't, I said. I always lost anyway. You're impossible. Possible, I said. Just different packaging. That night, I ate dinner in silence, then washed the dishes before she could. The confusion on her face was better than dessert. Wednesday morning, my phone buzzed with a message from June. Morning, neighbor? My sink's whistling again, the dramatic kind of whistle. I stared at the screen for a second, then smiled. If Sienna wanted a quiet, unambitious husband, I could still be useful somewhere. I grabbed my toolbox. Sienna noticed. Where are you going? Community service, I said. She frowned. Meaning? Fixing the faucet next door? Of course you are. I'm a giver, I said, and left before she found another word for it. June's door opened before I knocked. You work fast, she said. I'm on call for emotionally distressed plumbing, I replied. She laughed. Well, you saved my party. Least I can do is let you fix my sink. Her house smelled like coffee and lavender. Calm, controlled, not a single trace of performance. As I tightened the valve, she leaned on the counter. How's life back at the drama ranch? Peaceful, I said. Disturbingly peaceful. So you're trying the silent treatment. I prefer to call it behavioral reform. Sounds exhausting? Less than therapy. She smiled. You're enjoying this, aren't you? I'm enjoying the quiet, I said. That's all. When I came back home, Sienna was standing at the window, arms crossed, watching. She didn't say a word as I set down the toolbox, but her face said everything. You didn't have to be psychic to hear it. You went to her, so I said it for her. Yes, I was at June's. I didn't ask. You were about to. Her jaw tensed. You realize how that looks? Functional, I said. I fixed something. That's more than I can say for us lately. Do you ever stop being sarcastic? Not since marriage. She glared. Unbelievable. Déjà vu, I said, and walked past her. That night, she tried to start a conversation. I just nodded at all the right places, said, and watched her implode from lack of engagement. Apparently, indifference hurts worse than anger. By Thursday, she was visibly unraveling. Every time I smiled at something on my phone, her head snapped up. Every time I stepped outside, she asked, "Going somewhere?" When I said yes, she followed with, "Where?" And I always answered, "Away." She hated that answer, which is exactly why it worked. Sunday, June texted again. Coffee? My faucet's behaving, but I'm not. I hesitated. Then I went. We sat on her porch, 2 mugs and a long stretch of comfortable silence. You're not actually punishing her, are you? She asked. No, I said, just showing her what it feels like when the jokes stop being funny. June nodded. And if she never gets it? Then I'll still enjoy my coffee. When I got home, Sienna was waiting by the door. June again? She said, arms crossed. Coffee, I said. Just coffee. Her voice cracked. You're really trying to hurt me. No, I said softly. I'm just letting you hear the echo. And for the first time, she didn't have an answer. By the time the weekend rolled around, I could tell Sienna was close to snapping. Not in a dramatic throw-a-glass kind of way. No, she was cracking quietly, which is much more dangerous. She started doing little things, cleaning the same counter 3 times, reorganizing the spice rack, asking me questions she already knew the answers to. Did you feed the cat? We don't have a cat. Well, maybe we should. That's one way to avoid saying sorry. She didn't laugh. She just kept wiping the same spot like my words were crumbs she wanted gone. Monday morning she woke up early and made pancakes, not because she was being nice, because she was plotting. I walked in, and she was standing at the stove, flipping one with surgical precision. Morning, she said, too cheerful. Morning, I replied. I made breakfast. I noticed. You could say thank you? I could, she turned. You're unbelievable. So I've been told. She slammed the spatula down. You know what, Evan? You're enjoying this. You like seeing me uncomfortable. I like the pancakes better, I said. Her jaw locked. You've changed. Yeah, I said. Evolution. It's that thing people do when survival requires adaptation. That one hit. I saw it in the way her eyes flickered, anger, then guilt, then the usual pride returning to cover it all up. She walked away muttering, You're pathetic. I smiled into my coffee. Breakfast of champions. That afternoon, I was out front trimming the hedge when June appeared with 2 coffees in hand. Peace offering, she said. Did we fight? Not yet. But your face says tense domestic atmosphere, and caffeine fixes everything. She handed me a cup and leaned against the fence. How's the ceasefire? Leaking, I said. A lot of noise on the enemy radio. Ah, classic communication breakdown. I think she's trying to bait me into yelling so she can feel like we're back to normal. June smiled faintly, so don't give her that satisfaction. Oh, I'm not. But I can tell she's dying for a reaction. That's her addiction, not yours, she said. Just don't let it become yours again. I nodded, sipping my coffee. June, I said after a moment, you ever get tired of being the voice of reason? All the time, she said. But someone has to play the adult when you two are auditioning for divorce court. That evening, Sienna confronted me the moment I came in. Where were you? Outside. With who? The hedge. She folded her arms. Don't get cute. I wouldn't dream of it. Her tone sharpened. You were talking to June again. She brought coffee. Of course she did. She's generous. She's flirting with you. She flirts with the mailman. So that makes it okay? It makes it irrelevant. Sienna stepped closer, eyes narrow. You think I don't see what's happening? You're using her to punish me. Punish is a strong word. What would you call it then? Therapy. Free therapy. Don't play games with me, Evan. I can see it. You like the attention. Maybe I just like being treated like a person. That stopped her. For a second, she didn't have a comeback. Just stood there, breathing hard, looking like she'd been hit somewhere soft. Later that night, I was sitting on the porch with a beer, staring at the quiet street. The sky was orange from the streetlights, and somewhere a dog barked just enough to make the silence feel bigger. June came out of her house and waved. Couldn't sleep? She asked, walking over. Not really, I said. Too much quiet in the wrong places. That's the kind that hurts, she said, sitting on the step beside me. We sat in silence for a while. No flirting, no tension, just two people who didn't need to fill the air. You know, June said finally, she's scared. Of what? Losing control. You were her favorite toy. You stopped working the way she wanted. I laughed softly. Toy's still here, just switched off demo mode. Good, she said. But remember, revenge is still attention. Don't feed her that either. I nodded slowly. So what, I'm supposed to act like I don't care? No, June said. Act like you do, just not in the way she expects. That sounds like actual wisdom. I'm full of it, she said, smiling. Want another beer? Sure, I said. But let me grab it. I don't need her watching you hand me one and calling it adultery. June laughed. Fair. The next day, Sienna decided to escalate. I came home from work to find candles on the table and dinner set for two. She was dressed up, hair done, soft music playing. Wow, I said. Did someone die? Very funny, she said, tight smile. Sit down. I did. What's this? A truce. I thought we already had one. This time it comes with steak. We ate in awkward silence for a few minutes until she finally spoke. I've been thinking, she said carefully, about how we got here. Good start. I said something stupid. You overreacted. Almost good start. She sighed. Okay, maybe I was cruel. But you've been cruel too. I've been quiet, I said. Big difference. Your silence is worse than yelling, she said. Funny, I said. That's what peace feels like when you're used to chaos. She stared at me. I can't win with you, can I? Not when you think it's a competition. Then she said it, the line that flipped the table emotionally. Are you sleeping with her? I froze. It wasn't a scream, not even a shout. Just a quiet, trembling question. But it hit like a slap. Excuse me, I said. Don't play dumb. June, you're always over there. Coffee, repairs, jokes. Everyone in the neighborhood's talking. Really? Everyone? Don't mock me, she snapped. Do you want her? I took a breath, slow and deep. No, Sienna. I want peace. I just happened to find some of it next door. Her lip trembled. You're lying. If I was, I'd be smiling. She threw her napkin down. You're disgusting. Because I fixed a faucet? Because you're pretending to be innocent when you're not. I stood up. You want me to cheat just so your anger makes sense. That's the real problem. Stop twisting everything I say. Then stop giving me knots. I walked toward the door. Where are you going? For air. Her house? Mine's out of oxygen. And I left. I didn't go to June's right away. I walked around the block first, letting the night cool me down. My heart was pounding, not from guilt, but from the frustration of being accused of something I hadn't even thought about doing. Half an hour later, I ended up on June's porch anyway. She opened the door, saw my face, and didn't ask a single question. She just handed me a mug. Coffee? She said. Again? You look like you need something stronger, but let's start here. We sat in her living room quiet. She accused me of sleeping with you, I said finally. I figured, she said calmly. It was coming. You're not even surprised. She's scared. She's losing her grip, and people like her always swing before they fall. I leaned back, exhaling. Maybe I'm the one pushing her. June tilted her head. Are you? I don't know, I said. I just wanted her to feel what I felt that night. Small, embarrassed, disposable. That's fair, June said softly. But don't stay there. The view's ugly, I laughed weakly. You sound like a therapist again. I'm cheaper, she said, and I make better coffee. It was almost midnight when I went home. The lights were off, but I knew she was awake. She always leaves one candle burning when she's angry, like a signal flare of guilt. I closed the door quietly, took off my jacket, and saw her sitting on the couch in the dark. She didn't look at me when she spoke. Did you sleep with her? No, I said. I talked to her. About what? You. Her head turned slowly. What about me? How you turned our marriage into a performance. She swallowed hard. And what did she say? That I should stop playing along. Sienna didn't respond. She just stared at the candle. After a long pause, she said quietly, I hate what we've become. I sat down across from her. Then stop rehearsing the same script. She didn't cry, didn't shout, just nodded once, like the words finally landed. For the first time, I saw something real in her face. Not pride, not anger, just fear. And maybe, just maybe, that meant she was ready to listen. I woke up to the smell of coffee, and for a second, I almost believed it was a peace offering. Then I saw the mug waiting on the table with a sticky note. We need to talk. Ah, the 4 scariest words in marriage. I sipped my own coffee first and walked into the living room. Sienna was sitting on the couch, all calm and poised, like she'd practiced this scene in front of the mirror. I think we should be adults about this, she said. Define adult, I replied. No yelling, no sarcasm, just honesty. Sounds expensive. Do we need a therapist present? She ignored that. You said you wanted peace. So do I. Good, I said. Let's enjoy it separately. Her jaw tightened. You can't keep running from this. I'm not running. I'm standing perfectly still while you sprint in circles. Evan, she sighed. You're punishing me. No, I said. I'm just no longer participating in my own humiliation. That shut her up for a moment. She stared at me like she didn't recognize who she'd married, which was fair. I barely recognized myself lately either. She crossed her legs, composed herself, and tried again. I made a mistake that night. I said something stupid. But you've been cruel ever since cruel, I asked. You called me a cheap husband in front of 10 people and a barbecue pit. I called you out with a sentence. Who's the comedian here? That's not the point. Oh, it's absolutely the point. You mocked me, I stopped reacting, and now you miss the applause. Her eyes flashed. You think this is all about ego? I think it's about control. You lost it, and you hate how that feels. God, listen to yourself. You sound like a therapist. I had a free one next door for a while. That did it. Her face hardened. You're still talking to her. She listens better than you do. She's manipulating you. Then she's doing it politely. The tension was so thick, even the air looked uncomfortable. She stood up, pacing. You don't even try to fix things anymore. I fixed the faucet, I said. That's about my limit. I'm serious. So am I. You can't fix respect once it cracks. You either rebuild it, or you stop pretending it's there. She stopped walking. So that's it? You're done? I'm done being your punchline, I said quietly. That's all. She laughed bitterly. You think you're some kind of hero now? Stoic Evan, the martyr husband who rose above it all? Please, I said. If I was a hero, I'd have left months ago. Then why haven't you? I looked at her. Because I wanted to see if you'd notice the difference between my silence and my absence. That one landed like a gut punch. She blinked rapidly, her confidence crumbling in slow motion. After that, neither of us spoke for almost an hour. She sat on the couch pretending to read, while I scrolled through nothing on my phone. It wasn't peace. It was the sound of something dying quietly. Then, as if she couldn't stand it anymore, she said, So what now? You keep spending time with her until I lose my mind? I looked up. June? She's the only person around here who talks like a human. You're unbelievable. And you're predictable, I said softly. We're both consistent. She stood again, voice trembling. Say it. You want to leave? I paused. I don't want to leave, I said. I just don't want to come home to someone who thinks respect is optional. Sienna stared, speechless. Her lips parted, but no words came out. I walked toward the door, grabbed my jacket. She asked, Where are you going? For coffee, I said. Of course. Her place? Relax, I said. It's caffeine, not confession. June opened the door before I knocked. Rough night? She asked. Define rough. Ah, so it's one of those, yeah. She accused you of being my emotional support system again. Well, June said, smiling faintly, you do have great taste in support. I sat down on her porch steps, exhaling. She's breaking, I said, and I'm starting to feel like the bad guy. June sat next to me. You're not the bad guy. You're just finally reacting by doing nothing. Exactly. People like her don't fear anger. They fear indifference. I stared at the streetlights for a moment. You sound like a life coach. I charge less, she said. We both laughed quietly. Then I said, You think she'll change? June thought about it. Only if she thinks she's losing something real. She already did. Not yet, June said softly. You're still here. When I got back home, the house was dark except for one lamp by the couch. Sienna was sitting there, still awake, still furious. She didn't even wait for me to speak. You went to her, she said. Technically, I went to her porch. Big difference. She's the reason you're like this. No, Sienna, I said. You are. She's just the mirror. She stood up, shaking her head. You're cruel. Truth usually is. You think I deserve this? I think you need this, I said. To understand what it feels like when someone stops chasing your approval. Her eyes filled with tears she didn't want me to see. I almost felt sorry. Almost. Then I said the thing I'd been holding back for weeks. You can keep mocking me, Sienna. You can throw your little parties and pretend you're above it all. But don't be surprised when one day I stop coming home. The house was quiet that night. Not peaceful, not angry, just hollow. The kind of silence that doesn't comfort you. It just sits in the room and watches. The next morning she was waiting at the table. No makeup, no phone, just coffee and swollen eyes. It was almost eerie, like watching a performer forget their lines. "I didn't sleep," she said quietly. "I can tell." "Did you?" "Barely." She nodded, twisting the cup in her hands. "I keep replaying what you said," she whispered, "about not coming home." "Yeah," I said. That was the honest part. Her lip trembled. "You meant it?" "I don't say things I don't mean anymore." She looked down. "I hate what I did to us." "Then stop doing it." "I don't even know how." "Start by listening," I said. "That'd be new." She laughed through her tears. "You're still sarcastic." "It's genetic," I said. "My family uses humor instead of therapy." She stood up and came closer. "I was horrible to you," she said. "I know it." That night, I was trying to be funny, and it wasn't. "It was accurate," I said. "You just didn't like hearing it bounce back." She winced. "I deserved that." I leaned against the counter. "You know what I realized?" I said. "You didn't humiliate me because you hated me. You did it because you thought you could get away with it." Her eyes filled again. "I'm so sorry." "I don't need sorry," I said. "I need change." She nodded slowly. "Then let me try." I almost smiled. "I've heard that line before." "I mean it this time." "Then prove it quietly," I said. "I'm done with speeches." Over the next few days, she tried. Small things, real things. She made breakfast without waiting for praise. She listened when I talked, even when the conversation was uncomfortable. And for the first time in months, she didn't try to win. She tried to understand. June noticed too. She waved at me one afternoon as I was mowing the lawn. "So, marital thaw?" she asked. "Maybe," I said. "Less frost, more fog." "Progress. I'll take it." She smiled. "Told you she'd change once she realized you could leave." "Yeah," I said. "Fear's a better motivator than guilt." June raised her cup. "To healthy dysfunction." I laughed. "Cheers." A week later, Sienna came out to the porch while I was fixing the loose railing. She sat beside me, watching in silence. After a minute, she said, "Do you still hate me?" I wiped my hands. "I never hated you. I just stopped protecting your feelings at the cost of mine." She nodded, eyes wet again. "I get that now." "Good," I said. "Took us long enough." She laughed softly. "You're still calm." "Yeah," I said. "Guess I learned from the best." "June?" "No," I smiled. Silence. We didn't have a dramatic reconciliation. No grand speech, no tearful embrace. It just leveled out. We started eating dinner together again, watching dumb shows. Sometimes she'd reach for my hand and I wouldn't pull away. Sometimes I'd joke and she'd laugh, not out of habit but because it was real. The storm passed not with thunder, but with a sigh. And honestly, that was enough. A few weeks later, we hosted another barbecue. Same backyard, same grill, same neighbors, minus the tension. June came, of course, with her usual calm smile. When she saw us together, she grinned. "Looks like my offer expired," she said playfully. Sienna smiled back. "Guess I got lucky." June raised a brow. "Guess he did too." They both laughed. No malice, no edge, just peace. I stood there, beer in hand, watching them talk. For once, there was no scoreboard, no power struggle, just two women who understood that sometimes people grow up the hard way. Later that night, after everyone left, Sienna leaned against me on the porch. "Thank you," she said quietly. "For what?" "For not giving up on me." I looked at her for a moment, then smiled. "I didn't stay for you," I said. "I stayed for me. But I'm glad it worked out for both of us." She laughed softly, still sarcastic. "Still here," I said. And for the first time in a long time, that was enough. It's been a few months since that night. No fireworks, no miracles, just small, consistent things. Sienna stopped performing and started showing up. She laughs more now, not to impress, but because she actually means it. She listens, she asks, she apologizes when she should, and sometimes even when she doesn't have to. And me? I learned that silence isn't punishment, it's clarity. That peace doesn't mean giving up, it means refusing to keep fighting battles that don't deserve you. We still argue sometimes, still mess things up, still forget what we learned, but we find our way back faster now. If you felt this story hit hard, drop a like, subscribe for more, and share your thoughts in the comments. Your support keeps Steelheart beating.